Hey, how's it going tonight, y'all? Tonight we are talking about uh, when Moses and the Israelites were at Mount Sinai. So, in chapter 19, we see Moses actually go up onto Mount Sinai. We see the instruction the Lord gives for the Hebrew people to prepare themselves, to consecrate themselves to the Lord. And they are to wait for 3 days as they wait for the words of the Lord. They're not to go on to the mountain, only Moses is, because of the fact that they may not be able to withstand his glory, right? So we see Moses go up onto Mount Sinai, and we see the word, we see the law for the Hebrew people given to him, what we know as the Ten Commandments. In the Ten Commandments, I find that it really shows just how much the Lord loves people, right? How much the Lord loves us, how much the Lord wants us to treat each other well. The Ten Commandments are a predecessor, right? Are a predecessor to, honestly, the greatest commandment. When Christ was asked what the greatest commandment was, he was asked, and his response was to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And second, but the same as this, to love your neighbor as yourself. He said that on these two things, all the law and the prophets hinged. You see, the law was there as a way to establish for us what actions we're not loving, right? We see in the first couple of commandments, the Lord command to keep the Sabbath holy, right? Later we see that the Bible tells us through the words of Christ that the Sabbath wasn't even established, or man wasn't established for the Sabbath, but that the Sabbath was established for man. We were told to take a day of rest and to keep it holy. And God did that for us so that we could find rest and peace and get a glimpse at what was to come in the future, right? A glimpse of heaven here on earth. We see ourselves being, that the Hebrew people saw themselves being commanded, and I do believe that we should still follow the Ten Commandments, not as a prescription for salvation, because we know that salvation is a gift from God, a free gift from God, but as a way for our lives to live, to be lived in a beneficial way, where we can love one another, where we're not hurting ourselves and hurting others. But we see the Lord command us not to bow down before these false idols, to carve idols for ourselves. I mean, why would that be? I think he clearly explains it, because those idols will never help them. Those idols will never be able to do anything for them. I think what ends up happening and what we can look at in a lot of idols that have been worshipped is the sinful nature of man comes out in those idols, right? And people spend their time not looking to God, who can actually help us or save us, but looking to these idols, these things they think will bring them benefit that will never do anything good for them. We see that we're told to honor our parents, and that is one of the only commandments that's given a promise. That's that if we honor our father and mother, that we'll be given a long life. Why do you think that is? Parents are wise. They can tell you how to live a long and prosperous life. Now, obviously, there are times where earthly parents aren't godly examples, in which case we look to the Father, right? We look to Jesus and his example. But we're told to honor them. If we continue on, we see that it becomes real clear that these are commands to love one another. You should not steal, right? You should not bear false witness. You should not murder. You should not commit adultery. Think about it. None of those are loving practices. Can you say that you love your wife if you commit adultery? Definitely not acting loving. Can you say that you love someone if you murder them? I mean, that's pretty clear. Christ later in Scripture says that if you even have hate in your heart towards someone, that's the same as murdering them. Clearly, murder is an overflow of hate. Should not bear false witness. Should not covet your neighbor's house, your neighbor's wife, or his male servants or female servants, or his ox, or his donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. Why do you think that is? I'd say that's for the same reason as you should not steal, right? Coveting leads to the desire to steal or to act wrongly to achieve those things. Also, if you spend your time looking at all the things other people have and wanting what other people have, you forget to be grateful for the things that you have and see the blessings that the Lord has given. The more that I've come to know the Lord and to read his word, the more that I see that even in these times where we were given a law that could only bring death, right? The law of Moses was established to help us understand that sin brings death. I look to Christ. I look to Christ who laid down his life, who fulfilled the law. Right? He was the fulfillment of all of it. Love incarnate. Right? And he laid down his life. And I'm thankful that I don't have to meet up to all of these standards, because I know I've broken a number of them in my life. But I'm also thankful that I'm given another opportunity. An opportunity to live in love towards others. To live in love towards God. To find freedom from hurt and pain and sorrow. It doesn't mean that there won't be those things in life. But we have this word, and it shows us how we can avoid bringing unnecessary pain to ourselves, how we can avoid bringing unnecessary pain to others, and how when we're tempted to do those things, we can come to the Lord and He will strengthen us. Christ died because we couldn't fulfill the law, that we would be forgiven, that we would truly know how much He loves us. I pray that as y'all read through this, you would just let the words of these commands sink into your heart and your mind, that you would reflect upon them, that you would reflect upon God's love for His people and His love for you. And I pray that you would be pointed back to the cross of Christ. I thank y'all. You'll have a blessed day. And may God be with you.